because we believe that Rocky's case kind of demonstrates a lot of the problems that many people encounter in the justice system. One, Mr. Myers, he's intellectually disabled. There are a lot of people with mental illness and learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities that struggle.
Has he been legally deemed intellectually disabled?
Not legally, but he has a doctor's diagnosis that he is intellectually disabled. Unfortunately, law and medicine and law and mental health don't go together necessarily.
They don't get together sometimes.
Sometimes, because a doctor can find somebody to be intellectually disabled or mentally ill, and a judge doesn't necessarily have to agree with that.
Okay, and let's first of all let's give people a little bit of this case. There was a lady who was killed in her home, stabbed. And it is allegedly was done by Mr. Rocky, but the woman, when they got to her, was alive. And Rocky was her neighbor.
Correct.
And he used to do work for her and things of that nature. When the police got there, she never one time mentioned him. And normally, if you know somebody who hurt you, you tell the police. It was John. It was whoever it was. She never said that.
Absolutely. And she actually gave two physical descriptions. She gave one when she made the original 911 call, and she gave the same description a second time to paramedics who arrived. And never mentioned.
Never mentioned. So it wasn't this was not a dying declaration in which she was just, she had lived a while after she had been stabbed. How many times had she been stabbed?
There was two stab wounds, I believe.
And there was somebody else in the house at the time also, but evidently did
not physically view the person who stabbed them. She was in a bedroom asleep at the time. She was stabbed, but all she recalled was that someone threw open the door to the bedroom where she was sleeping, stabbed her, and fled.
Oh, so she was stabbed also?
She was stabbed, yes.
But was it night? Was it dark?
It was night.
Okay.
Yes, it was after midnight.
Okay. Did Rocky have any evidence on him? Any blood?
No, there was no physical evidence tying Mr. Myers to the crime.
So how did they happen to reach out and touch Mr. Myers?
It's a long, convoluted story. Originally, someone else was arrested and charged with the crime because three people came forward and said that this other person, Mr. Valentine, was the person who traded a VCR for crack at a crack house down the street from the house. And it was determined that a VCR was stolen from the victim's home. This is back in the early 90s when VCRs were expensive.
I remember that. So, how did we go from a guy in possession of merchandise from the home, selling it, to a guy that we're not sure is even intellectual enough to even operate the VCR?
Again, at the crack house, the people who came forward and said that this Mr. Valentine was the one who traded it, they later came forward, two of them came forward and said, actually, we lied. It wasn't this Mr. Valentine. It was this other guy, Rocky Myers. That was prompted in part because there was an investigator who put up a reward. They put up a reward for the real killer that was hired by Mr. Valentine's family. Mr. Valentine's family was a little bit more well known in the area compared to Mr. Myers, who was a relative stranger to the Morgan County area. Mr. Valentine's father